preserved in this recording. Otherwise, we're just going to get going. And like I said, I'm going to have a hard stop by 4:30, where we would like to invite you to come into some breakout rooms and meet with our alum or our current students to get your questions answered. So really quickly, again, my name's Christina with the A, and I'm the project coordinator with this program. And I also have my partner, Christine Scudder. Christine, you want to say hello, what you do?
Hi there. I am a field consultant, and what that means is that I support students with their internship to secure an internship, which we'll talk about, and also for a field seminar where we talk about their internship experiences. I'm also a lecturer, so I teach courses, which I'll talk more about later, and I support the Title IV program. Good to see you out there.
Yes, she does. And our other partner in crime is Des. Des, who is also handling this presentation, which is stressful. Des just started with us in September, and she's saving my life in many ways. Very excited to have her on board. And look, you already magically fixed that. So she's waving to you. Thank you for being here, Des, and for helping us. And in addition, maybe some of you have met Sarah at other admissions events, Sarah McCarthy, and she'll have a few minutes to talk about the admissions process toward the ends of this slide deck. So let's just move ahead. And okay, so you're here because you've heard about this stipend, and it is $18,500 per year for up to 2 years. And by accepting that money, you agree to serve a minimum of 2 years as a child welfare worker in a California public child welfare agency. You also are eligible to work on Native lands through the federal program with Native American communities. But that more often people are in county child welfare. Okay, moving along. So to be eligible for this program, you have to get admitted to Berkeley's MSW program. You also have to have a valid driver's license and be able to commit to securing the use of a car as required for field. So sometimes students can get away with not having a car in the program, but if you are placed at an agency where you can't take public transportation, it's not an excuse to not take that placement. You'll have to get a car. So sometimes people in their first year can get away with not having one, but they definitely, many need it in their second year, and then some are lucky and they don't. You always have to have a driver's license because you will be required to drive as a child welfare worker. And you will be screened and have a criminal background check and provide your DMV pre-screening results with us before you sign your contract and get started in our program. You are enrolled as a full-time student. We do not have a part-time program here at Cal. So you will be full-time, and you have to stay in good academic standing and complete your MSW degree. And you should be eligible to work in the state of California upon graduation. And so if you are DACA, you are eligible to be in our Title IV Child Welfare Scholars Program. Okay, our academic requirements, you are going to choose the Strengthening Children, Youth, and Families specialization in the admissions process. And for Title IV students, you have to take these courses, either infant or child development class. You'll have to take a social policy class on children and families, and Dr. Jill Dewar-Barrick teaches that course, and those are her books that we're displaying. The Impossible Imperative is the latest. You also will take a course with me, Direct Practice with Children and Families, and that is a very much child welfare focused boot camp to get you ready for your internship in your second year. In your second year, you will take a course with Christine Scudder. Christine, you want to talk a little bit about this one because it's new?
Yeah, the Trauma-Informed Child Welfare Practice course really kind of takes what you learn in the direct practice class with Christina the spring before, and then in the fall I'll see you for this class. We kind of take it to kind of looking at actual child welfare case scenarios in depth and taking a look at what it means to engage in trauma-informed child welfare practice. One of the things about this is both, I think from a social justice lens in terms of how we're working with families, that we're really making sure that we're coming forward from a trauma-informed perspective, and that we're also, really being mindful about your own personal and professional self-care as a child welfare worker, which really has implications for supporting folks to stay in the field, which we could talk more about, but it's a class we're really excited about.
Yep, so it's been revised and we launched it for the first time this fall. So you do have two required child welfare focused courses, and really three if you think about policy, but Jill also covers other areas of children and family related policy. You will take field seminar both years, and Christine Scudder will be your field seminar instructor, and she'll go out as the consultant to meet with you at your internship and see how it's going. And you will be in field education both years. First year, 2 days a week, and year two, 3 days a week. So if you are admitted as an MSW student and you're offered the stipend, then we will meet with you later in the spring. Christine will do like questionnaire with you, interview you, fill out what your interests are to arrange a first year placement that will start in the fall. And typically our students are in school-based placements that serve foster youth. We have students in legal settings, particularly one that it serves the parents and the caregivers on that side of things. So it's actually pretty critical, the child welfare system at times. We have placements there, and then we have placements in mental health settings like La Clinica or Fred Finch, which provide services, clinical services to kids and families. So that's year one, 2 days a week. We meet with you and then you rank kind of with us your preferences, but we place you. And that happens ideally before the summer is over. And then in year two, you will have to be placed in a county public child welfare agency. So while your peers in the Strengthening Children Youth specialization are out there, just they're able to interview anywhere and they have no limits, you have some constraints because of this grant. You have to do this placement in CPS, in a Children Protective Services agency, and we have relationships with Bay Area counties. They all come together at an event in January, and they show off to all the local Title IV students from San Jose, East Bay, San Francisco, and Cal. We have a joint event, and they try and convince you to choose them. And you'll have to interview with at least two of those agencies and hope for a match. And then we'll get you into that placement for year two. And when you're in year two, we will also support you as you get ready to get a job. And so we'll have a mock interviews session for our second year students in January of their second year to get them prepared for civil service exams. Okay, moving along. Okay, so as Des is moving that forward, we often get questions about child welfare and the Pupil Personnel Services credential. So the Pupil Personnel Services credential is called the PPSC for shorthand, and students are often interested in doing both. So it is possible here at Cal, but it's not easy. A lot of students do it, but they are taking on some extra work. So we just want to be transparent about that. The opportunity is there, and I really believe in the combination because it does support your effectiveness as a child welfare worker to meet the educational needs of foster youth who are overrepresented in special education and are over-disciplined in our schools. So it does give you some career choice points, potentially, if you decide that child welfare is not for you. And if you do these classes and enroll in this program while you're a student with us, then you avoid paying extra fees and tuition to come back after graduation as a postmaster's PPSC candidate. There is a program available for people who didn't get a chance to do it while they were in the MSW program and want to come back. But there are challenges with the combination that don't work, doesn't work for everyone to do the combo. It does require 2 additional classes on top of your other requirements, which means that you have fewer electives. You'll have to take a school social work practice class, and you'll also have to take a social work and education policy class. In addition, there are fees. You have to get fingerprinted again and again. And more importantly, in your first year, you have to give more hours. It's a minimum of 450 hours for the PPSC. So that often means that people are giving an additional half day to the 2 days that they're already in field, or sometimes a full day in order to meet that threshold. Amanda, what's your question? Go ahead on mic.
Just to clarify, so for this dual focus, does it support paying tuition when you come back, or does it support paying tuition throughout that journey of you're starting your graduate, finish your graduate, and then you come back? Is it that whole portion, or is it just when you?
Okay, yeah, I don't think I phrased this well, so thank you for asking the question.
Thank you.
If you do the PPS while you're a student, then you are enrolling for the classes and it's all wrapped into your regular tuition. So that's an advantage for you if you're able to get it done while you're a student. But if you were not able to either get a school-based placement or finish the courses, then you'd have to come back after you graduate, at any point after you graduate, and enroll through our continuing education program. And I hope I got that language right. Extended learning.
Extended learning, I think.
Okay. Every school calls it something different, but anyway, it's a summer-based program that one course is online and the other during non-COVID times is in person, and that costs money. So I just wanted to frame that there's potential for you to do it later, but you would have to pay additional tuition later after you graduate if you go down that path. But if you want to do it while you're an MSW student and you were able to secure a school-based internship in your first year, then it's covered by your regular tuition. Does that make more sense?
That answers the question. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, so this is true for SF State and San Jose and East Bay also. Well, not East Bay, right, Christine? They still don't have their own program.
They don't have their own, yeah.
Right. Okay. So East Bay does not have a PPS program, and their students have to find the PPS program through San Jose's online or Humboldt's online program. So speaking out of turn for them, but anyway, you can always ask me more questions about this, and it's something Christine would talk to you really intentionally about when you're making decisions about what your interest is for your first year field placement. Okay, moving on. Can you get your LCSW if you're a child welfare worker, Christine?
Yes, you can.
Tell us more.
Well, thanks for asking.
Okay.
So this is a question we get from a number of students over the years. And so what we want you to know is that for those of you who are interested in pursuing your license in clinical social work or your LCSW, the requirement for that is to first, of course, get your MSW degree. Students are often wondering, if my internship isn't necessarily in mental health, can I still work towards my LCSW? And yes, you can. Different county agencies who hire child welfare workers, child protective services workers, sometimes have in-house folks who provide clinical supervision. Sometimes they contract with an outside person. I have been such a person for a variety of counties to come in and provide clinical supervision for their staff. Or sometimes they won't pay for it, but they will allow you to take time off from work or at least enter into an agreement with an outside clinical supervisor. The issue with getting your license, there's multiple steps to that. A lot of times there's questions, which we can kind of point you to where to get those answers, and I'm happy to answer more if you have them. But In general, what's important to know is that your boss, basically, as a child welfare social worker, when you're in your employment, is not usually a licensed person. You don't have to have your clinical license to be a CPS social worker or supervisor. And so that's why you have to get an outside clinical supervisor. So it's definitely possible to collect those hours. You can collect most of them. Some supervisors will sign off on all of your hours from CPS. Other times people might want you to go out and get a little bit of mental health background before signing off on those final hours. But in general, it's absolutely possible. That's all I want to say.
Thank you.
You're
Okay, so moving ahead, go ahead and advance a slide. Sarah, I'm going to let you speak, but I just wanted to highlight that if you are interested in the Title IV Child Welfare Scholars Program, you need to check that box in the application process, and it will mean that you are writing an additional essay. So there is an additional essay that is child welfare focused that we will read as folks who are making decisions about the stipend program. But everything else is exactly the same for admissions. And again, you're being admitted to the MSW program. So even if you weren't chosen for the stipend, you can still be in the MSW program. It's not that you have to make a decision either way, but you are checking a box to indicate your interest in this stipend. So go ahead, Sarah, and give us your pearls of wisdom.
Sure, thank you, Christina.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a very brief time before our student and alumni guests will be joining us. So I just wanted to give a super brief overview and let you know or reiterate how to get in touch should you have questions about the process. So it is a completely online application. You do not need to send any hard copy materials to us. The application is open currently, and the deadline is upcoming in December 1 at 8:59 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We highly encourage folks to submit their application at least a week ahead of time, just in case any technical issues come up. Then you have some time to communicate with the Central Graduate Admissions Office and get those ironed out, because the deadline is a strict deadline. And it does apply to all elements of your application, including the letters of recommendation. And in terms of getting in touch, I will be on this entire time. And if we stay on for questions and answers beyond 5 o'clock, I'll also be available. I'm available through our email address, which is swadm@berkeley.edu, and we can also put that in the chat. We have open virtual office hours, and those are on a first come first serve basis, and you can speak with us one-on-one to ask questions, and then we can also set up some longer time if that seems necessary. So looking forward to continuing to communicate with you all about any questions that you might have about the general program and the application process.
Thanks, Sarah. So if we could just advance the slide, then this is just reiterating what Sarah said about the fees, and that's how you can contact her at the SWADM. But right now we want to give our appreciation to alum Noreen and Yesenia, who agreed to take some time out of their afternoon today to host 2 different breakout rooms just to maximize our time, because we have a good number of participants. So you can ask them anything about their experience in the program. They just were hired by Sonoma and Alameda County. They're child welfare workers. And then I invited 3 current second-year students, Melissa, Brittany, and Maria, and they'll be in the same room. And you could also ask to go over and chat with them if you'd like. So right now, this is the beauty of Zoom. Our Des, our host, is the only person who can do the breakouts. So she's created 3 rooms, and she's going to randomly put people in the rooms. If you would rather talk to second years and you are with an alum, you can just come back to the main session and we'll move you wherever your preference is. But initially, we'll just randomize it. And again, if you have more questions for Sarah or me, you can stay in the main session also. But this is a rare opportunity to talk to people who are actually in it or just recently graduated from our program. So we really want to encourage you to take advantage of that opportunity as much as possible, because these folks would not be at future events that are hosted by our program. So I think Noreen is on my list as a participant. Mendoza is her last name, Des. I think she's here. So Des is going to start scooting you over, and any question is fine. We will not be eavesdropping, I promise, and they will not be taking down any identifying information about you. So feel free to be unfiltered and really get your questions answered. We'll send a notice when we want to welcome you back to the main session so that Christine and I could respond to any general questions, and Sarah, of course, generously offered to hang around also. So please feel free to take advantage of the invitation to one of the 3 breakout rooms. Great.
That was
You're in.
nerve-wracking.
I bet.
Good job, Des.
That is a stressful responsibility.
We have been there many times and sweat bullets.
Yeah.
So sorry for the
yeah.
chatting and asking, and I hope that wasn't.
Yeah, I really put you in it. I feel for you. We can stop recording or pause it. I mean, I guess we could resume it for the when we welcome them back.
Let's remind them when they come back that it's recording.
Sure.
I'm unsure if we'll be able to see their faces since I'm sharing my screen. Will it just be my screen?
Right, and you're spotlighting speaker only, huh? So it might not. I can only see you right now.
All right, folks.
I can see them as they're returning.
Folks are coming back, yeah.
Welcome back. Thank you for your attention and your questions. I imagine they were good. Some people were able to move around to other rooms, so I hope that you were able to get your questions answered. We want to wrap up and respect folks' time, but we can stay after a couple of minutes if there are any burning questions. But if you would like to unmute right now, if you have a general one that would benefit the group, feel free to do that, because Christine and I are here to answer them. And just a reminder that you can make virtual office hour times with Sarah if you have a specific question about your application or transcripts or any of that good stuff. Any questions for us?
I have a question. For those that have a bachelor's in social work, is there a lot of overlap in this program of classes?
That's a great question. As you know, we don't have an advanced standing for our regular program. We have advanced standing through the FLEX program that BSW students are eligible for, but the Title IV-E Child Welfare Scholars Program stipend is not available in the FLEX. So I just wanted to make that clear. Christine and I have both taught in undergraduate bachelor social work programs, and I don't think that there is a lot of overlap. There are a lot of interesting electives that are available for you in our program: solution focused, brief therapy, there's motivational interviewing, cognitive behavioral therapy. We have community organizing. There's just a big menu. So maybe in your foundation semester, some theories might be familiar. Some of the foundation material might seem a little familiar, but it's a much deeper dive, I think, and you're applying it to the internship experience. So I don't think it's repetitive, but it's a great question. And, you know, if you are interested in looking at the Flex program, Sarah can point you toward those materials. Christine, did you want to say anything about bachelor's?
I think the only thing I'd add is that I know that some students who have a BASW have sometimes been able to, this is not a guarantee to be clear, but have sometimes been able to test out of first year research, and that's on a case-by-case basis. I think that's the only one that I know of where there's been some overlap.
Yeah, and it's similarly, if you have taken child development, there's a waiver process for that too. So that can come up in certain courses. So if you felt like you've taken a course, you would petition our MSW coordinators, share the syllabus from your undergraduate experience, and they would review it, and they may grant you a waiver, and then that would give you an opportunity to take another elective, an additional elective that you'd have some space for.
Right, and so the overall number of units that you're required to complete for the overall program doesn't change, but like Christina's speaking to, the flexibility that you have with your curriculum would increase a little bit.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions that Christine and I can answer? We have one more Mentimeter question that we'd love to ask. So why don't we forward up and
There's a question. I think Jojo has a question.
okay,
Yeah,
Jojo.
quick question.
Sure.
I was just wondering, do you usually see people who do dual programs along with a specialty, or not so much?
No, it's a great question, Jojo. You're not eligible to do the MPH or the law degree program with the Title IV scholars. You have to graduate within 2 years. We can't extend. Those programs require an extra year to do the other coursework for the other degree. And so Title IV Child Welfare Scholars are not eligible to do dual degree. You can get a certificate like the PPSC or the Latinx Center of Excellence certificate. Those might be available to you if you have the right internships and take the right courses, but you can't do the other tracks.
Okay, good to know. Thank you.
And you're applying only to the Strengthening Children, Youth, and Families specialization. It's the only path that's available for child welfare scholars.
There is some amount of flexibility within the curriculum to be able to take classes in other areas of the campus, though. So that's a way that you can engage with other departments and units while not pursuing a concurrent degree.
Excellent point. Yes, if your schedule allows it, we encourage that as much as possible. Okay, so let's advance the slide. And if people are game, we have one more Mentimeter question. What's one show you recommend that others watch during this pandemic? Oh yeah, agreed. Oh, The Good Place. Yeah, my older kid loves that show. Oh, Killing Eve. Isn't that dark? Okay. Although I saw Ozarks during the pandemic and that was a good escape. Very dark. Oh, lots for The Good Place. House of Flowers. Haven't heard of that. Okay, I hope people are jotting these down.
That's right. I am.
I put in Cobra Kai. I really did. I did. It's a good flashback to those of us who were alive in the 80s. All right. Well, we want to thank you for your time and attention this evening. And we really hope that you'll follow through and apply to the program. If so, the interviews for this stipend will take place in the new year, likely in February. So I would meet you virtually for that piece of the process. But we'll be in touch prior to that if you apply on time and indicate that you're interested in the Child Welfare Scholars Program. So thank you so much for your time and attention this evening, and please feel free to reach out to us if you have any further questions.
And thanks again to our students and alum for coming back and supporting us.
Yeah, thank you, Christine. I did not overlook that. Yesenia had to leave, but for the other folks, my second years and Noreen, appreciate you so much. Thanks for giving us your time and wisdom today. Noreen's the best.
Take care, you all. Really appreciate y'all coming.